was built for the World Trade Fair of
Where are we?
1889
Wow.
Over there
by
between those
Gustave
buildings is the
Eiffel,
Eiffel
so
Tower.
named the
Yeah.
As any monuments built for these World Trade Fairs, it was supposed to be destroyed afterwards. But the tower was useful. The first radio transmitter through the Atlantic Ocean was installed on the top platform. So they have decided to keep it. And Cannes Museum, the Marine Museum, and on the other building on the left is the Cinema Museum and the French Monument Museum. In between is called the Parvis of Human Rights, and with the view over the Eiffel Tower. So 3 levels for the tower. On the top there is a wax character. So down the road after the traffic lights you will see the statue of George Washington. We are in the district dedicated to the 200 years friendship between France and the US. From the time when the French King Louis XVI assigned more than 10,000 soldiers under the escort of General Lafayette, General Rochambeau, to help George Washington with the Independence War. So here is George on his horse. And just after is a food market. On Saturday morning there is a quite big food market right here, going all the way down. So hi George.
Hi, George.
And the building on the left is the Asian Art Museum called the Guimet Museum, named after Mr. Guimet. He was a French collector of Asian art during the 19th century. Lafayette, a statue of General Pershing, and to the left, a funerary monument dedicated to the American soldiers who died on the French territory during the First World War. Napoleon I. You will never see the arch completed. They will die before in 1821, and the arch will be completed in 1840 under the reign of King Louis Philippe. You see people on the top platform. There is a staircase leading the people up, and a beautiful view over Paris and over the 12 avenues radiating out from the arch, looking like a star, étoile in French. And also the names of his victories.
Sandy's gonna get good.
So on the left, on the ground where you see the flowers is the tomb of the unknown soldier, with the flame of remembrance, the souvenir flame relighted every evening at 6:30 with the veterans commemoration and a military band. two groups on the front facade. One represents Napoleon crowned by the victory. The other one is called the Marseillaise, and the Marseillaise is our national anthem. Underneath the vault, engraved into the limestones, are the names of the 660 main officers of Napoleon I's army, and also the names of his victories throughout Europe, in Germany, in Austria, in Russia, Poland, Spain, Italy, and so on. On the right, in the distance, the tall tree was living. Champs-Élysées, the fountains are made of Swarovski crystals. And the round building on the right is the Renaud Barrault Theatre. And the one on the left is Marigny Theatre. After the traffic lights on the right, you will see the Grand Palais. Opposite Petit Palais, these two palaces were built for the World Trade Fair of 1900, and nowadays they are used for temporary exhibitions.
It's autumn. Look at the trees. Autumn.
So Grand Palais now closed down for restoration. A bronze statue just in the corner on the right representing General Charles de Gaulle. The way he was descending Champs-Élysées for the liberation of Paris in August the 25th, 1944. Élysée Palace on the left, you see the people waiting at the gate. Olympic Games are next year, yes, in July 2024. So they're trying to get ready. That's why there's a lot of work in sites in Paris. So straight ahead now, you can see the obelisk with its golden pyramid on the top. Obelisk is the oldest monument in Paris, 3,000 years old. Of course it wasn't here 3,000 years ago. It's a gift in the 19th century from Egypt to France.
Sorry.
Obelisk is coming from the Luxor temple and recalls the great deeds of Francis II, the great pharaoh of Egypt. Crillon Hotel, 5-star hotel, next to the American embassy. So right now there is, you see, big screen for the rugby tournament going on in Paris and France. So it's displayed here on the screen. Was a match yesterday here in Paris, and tonight it will be in the city of Nantes. But the people can be watching here on the big screen. So they call it the route. In the Tuileries Gardens, that's where are displayed the large paintings realized by Claude Monet called the Nymphaeas, the water lilies. So the big formats display displayed in these oval rooms, and a large collection of 19th century painting located in the Tuileries Gardens. That was the royal garden of the Louvre. The Louvre we'll see in a minute, straight ahead. On the other side of the river now, after the bridge, is the Orsay Museum, Musée d'Orsay. At first it was a railway station built in 1900, turned into a museum in 1986. And that's where is the famous Impressionist collection, where you can admire the Monets, Degas, Van Gogh, Cézanne, Sisley, Toulouse-Lautrec, and so on. So Orsay Museum on your right side. So very busy also for the was the Prime Minister of the King Louis XIV. He had just to cross the river to come and see the King on the left. Double L, you see on the medallion for Louis XIV, where he was living. So nowadays, this building on the right is called the Institut in the old department store La Samaritaine on the left. Now it's a 5-star hotel with the Art Deco style for the architecture. So on the city island you will see a building with some towers and turrets called the Conciergerie. It used to be the first French king's palace. When the kings moved to the Louvre, it was empty, kept by a housekeeper. Concierge in French, so it's named the Conciergerie. During the Revolution, it was turned into a prison where Queen Marie Antoinette, for instance, was held before being guillotined on the Concorde Square. So now it's a museum where you can visit the different cells of the French revolutionaries, and the cell of Marie Antoinette. And also a beautiful first example of Gothic style of architecture. It's a Catholic church, and there were religious services going on early morning, twice on Sundays. On the right is a flower market. It's the largest flowers into a museum, the French Army Museum, gathering military uniforms from the Middle Ages until the World War II. And you can see the dome, the golden dome for the Church of the Dome, masterpiece of Mansart, the great architect of Versailles Palace. And that's where is buried Napoleon. Napoleon I is buried into the crypt of the church. Napoleon died in exile in 1821, and his remains were brought back about 20 years later. And the Golden Dome has been regilded for the bicentenary of the French Revolution, and for this occasion they needed 14 kilos of gold. The glass roof of Grand Palais on your right side. Church all around, it's empty. Police is around because there were threats of blowing up the place here. So it's police all the way museum dedicated to primary art from Oceania, from Africans, from South America, Indians of America, for instance, Aboriginal of Australia, and so on. It's a very interesting museum with some exotic garments.
So Beverly, where are we?
We are on the River Seine, as they say in Paris.
What's the name of the boat?
A river boat.
Lunch boat. Look at this. Look how big they are. That's a real cattle boat. This is very nice.